up, YouTubers? Today, we're going to take a look at the Divo Knives Buzz. I'm going to show something really quick. This knife is perfectly centered because after about 50 openings and closings, you're going to find out. This knife has all the goodies, but let's talk a little bit about it. This is designed by Kevin Johnson, a.k.a. Lefty EDC, and Colin Mason Pierre, a.k.a. CM Knife Designs. This knife is a full titanium with an inset liner lock. So yeah, you have the greatness of full titanium, but you have the ambidexterity because, you know, frame locks kind of punish left-handers, and so we don't have that on this one. So it's a sign of things to come. Fantastic. This knife has a 3.3-inch blade with a hollow ground known as a buzz cliff. I've seen that before. Take a look at that. It looks very much like the shark's foot, shall I say, if you just kind of take a look at some of those lines. I'm not saying it's copied, not at all. Just saying that some parallel thinking, and it's a very functional design. It does have the slightest bit of belly there, which is a good thing. Honestly, I'm kind of appreciating that more and more, unless you need a pure Wharncliffe blade. So yeah, this is the Buzz Cliff shaped blade made of 20 CV super steel. I weighed it in at 4.1 ounces. And it priced for $300. Priced because they're all out. Again, it was a pre-order. I have no doubt there's going to be more of these to come. No doubt at all. Let's jump right into the pros of this. And I may have to edit this because there's going to be an awful lot. Let's talk about the action. It is on bearings. Fantastic. It actually has that little nice rounded top flipper that you can do the reach around, as I call it. But that is a good thing. That's hard to do and get right. And then it also still works with your thumb, is a traditional front flipper. Backside Spidey flick, no problem. Great. You can do the thumb flick, and what's great about it is it has this nice little channel that just kind of guides you right where to go with that thing. Really, really good. Oh my gosh. And actually, this works really well as a slow roll. Just start down lower, and then watch your thumb kind of slide right up to there. Yeah, so this is a really good... Wow. I don't know what else to say. No more to talk about that. Just... really fantastic. Full ambidexterity on this knife. Oh my gosh, look at that. You got your pocket clip. You've got a little channel there for deployment. You got a little channel, and you got your pocket clip for left hand tip up. Oh man. Would we expect anything different? And the inset liner lock, of course, makes that very possible. I'll go ahead and try to demonstrate. Yeah, I guess I can actually do that left-handed. Yeah. Honestly, this does not discriminate against lefties. Just really, really good on that. The hollow ground blade is absolutely excellent. I already showed the shark's foot, and it's a very useful blade shape. You know, it's good for draw cuts. This one also works well for just like choking up a little bit, some fine carving. I did really, carved really well on wood on that. Wasn't the greatest, but really pretty good. The extra tie hardware that comes with this knife is excellent. I mean, you can actually, if you want to, if you lose anything on it, you've basically got a full replacement of a clip. You've got washers, you've got bearings, you've got screws, you got the lock bar in set. This is insane. So if you want to just play, knock yourself out, they give you some extras. You want to play with anodizing? Not a problem. I did verify the hardware there is in fact titanium. Oh, and there's even the pivot. There's a completely cleansed, if you will. I don't know yet. That may show. But there's a completely non-branded pivot screws as well. And I love about this, it's got a bushing. That is your steel, and then those are in fact tie. Again, if you want to knock yourself out with, anodizing play, they actually give you a little Divo Knives Ranger eye. And actually, I did verify it does glow in the dark. Couldn't get a good picture of that one though. So the hollow blade grind, really, really good. Extra tie hardware, fantastic. This one uses internal stop pins. So on most knives, not all, but on most knives, you'll see a stop pin kind of back here, which will catch the back of the blade, and that provides your stop. And then likewise, oftentimes, it will then rub against something there on the back of the blade and stop it. But this one actually has nice internal ones. It just provides for nice, clean lines. And I actually kind of like that. When I noticed that this one of the comparison knives, another Best Tech made knife, which is the Nimble W, had that as well. So really like that. There's a slight chamfering and contouring on this. Let's see if the contouring shows up a bit. It may, yeah, there's a little bit of rounding there, but there's just the ever so slightly small. You see that little reflection there? Yeah, that chamfer makes for nice comfortable. I know that was one of the changes that they made from the as well as the contouring from the initial prototypes. So yeah, knocked it out of the park there. Totally appreciate that. The front finger choil, this works fine in the back position, but the front finger choil is really where it's at. I mean, actually, it's all good. Honestly, on this one, really, what more can I say? Totally appreciate it. The hidden lanyard pin, always appreciate that. For those people that like lanyards, and I do on smaller knives. This is a big enough knife, don't really need it, but you know, I appreciate that it's there. T8 hardware everywhere, including the pocket clip. Thank you. So again, this is obviously has some influence by knife reviewing experience from Kevin. So absolutely appreciate that. The beveled finger grooves that I already talked about not only provide for great deployment action as you slide in there, or likewise on the backside, but they actually provide for great finger comfort too. In the back position, it kind of locks it in even just a little bit more without causing massive finger groove problems. So it's still fairly neutral for things like pull grips. So again, excellent, well thought out. The forward jimping. Some people might think, oh, why don't you just make this? No, you know what? This works just perfect because in the back position, if you're doing draw cuts, the jimping lands right where you'd want it. You wouldn't probably necessarily pinch up on this knife because it's pretty wide up there. It's going to not be the most stable. You're going to have your thumbs on that hollow grind. But from the back position, really from here is where you're going to be doing your draw cuts. And then from the fully choked up position, look right where that thumb lands. Boom, right on there. So great positioning. You know, that's one of those things I think about. Jesper Voxnäs does that. And nailed it on that one. So the back jimping, really, really good. Plus the jimping on the texturing here, like I said, not many knives can I go ahead and do the reach around or reach in front really and do that with the finger. This one is great. It doesn't tear it up, but it has just enough grip. Great job on the jimping. I know, it sounds like a love fest, and it is, sorry. The pocketed weight relief is really, really good. You can kind of see that there's some good pocketing inside this thing, and I totally appreciate that. But yet it still feels substantial in the hand. It is a 4.1 ounce knife. So it's not like one of those super light ones. You know, this is not like even a full titanium bug out or something like that, a Hogue Deca. It's got that nice solidity to it, but not super heavy. Again, thinking about the fact that it's going to be sitting in your pocket for 98% of the day, maybe used for a little bit. So another great thing. Wow. Let's jump into the cons, and these are nitpicks. Really, the only real nitpick is that this is just a little bit slippery of a surface. It does appear to be a bead blasted. Oh, by the way, there's two options. I got the one with the stonewash blade. I do tend to prefer the stonewash. If you like a satin grind, they have a satin grind blade as well. But I will say this bead blasting here, I think it's some sort of glass or bead blasting. It's just a little bit slippery, especially when it got wet. So that was just that's kind of the only really one. But the great news on that one is, yes, great news following bad news, not even bad news, cons, is that I have seen already that there are textured scales that are coming out for these. So on the blackened ones, I'd probably go with the black, the smooth. But for the Silver Fox, this is called the Silver Fox, by the way, the monochromatic, I would definitely choose the textured one just to give that extra little bit of grip. But again, it's kind of nice and wide, and the ergos are really good. So, and then the last thing is, and I don't even know if it happened, but about every 50 to 100, and no, it didn't walk, but about every 50 to 100, there is some pivot walk. And you know what? Is it a con? No. Really, that's more just a public service announcement for people that are not knife people. Just put a little small dollop of blue Loctite in there, let it dry overnight, and you'll be good to go. But I will say, the pivot walks pretty consistently after 50 to 100. Flickings open and close. So, you know, in terms of some comparison knives, if you're looking, you know, based on this blade shape, the cost, the titanium, I think for my money, I think the WE Knives Roxy 3, you know, it has that similar Wharncliffe blade. It does have the front choke up there. So, you know, that's one that definitely could be an alternative. That's made by WE Knives. And then also, I already brought up previously the Nimble W, the Wharncliffe. That one's made by Best Tech. So you're talking, this is made by Best Tech too. So you're talking about two Best Tech knives. That is it, definitely if you need a more pure Wharncliffe. Plus that has much sharper lines on it. You know what? Like that, either one of these are really good. And then the last one, which I think it has maybe less, but the one thing that did remind me of, this is the Brian Brown Jaeger M. That one's made by, I believe, Riot. So what that one has is the rounding and chamfering. So it's not the square and blockiness. It feels kind of a little bit more comfortable. And it does also have a pretty wicked hollow grind. You know, that might be an alternative to similar price range, similar materials and the like. So you know what? You'd be good with any of these. Just wanted to get some alternatives for that. You know, overall, this is essentially perfect design and execution from a collaboration between a knife designer and a reviewer. And you know what? Absolutely hit it out of the park. So if you did find this of use or interesting, like and subscribe and have a great day. Take care now. Oh yeah, one more pro. This knife, normally I don't really care about swag too much, but this knife has such a cool case that I'm going to give this to my wife as a small clutch. But I'll take out the silica gel. So look at that. Isn't that kind of fancy? So this isn't just for the guys. This is for the gals too.